A woman is accusing Sean Diddy Combs of and her when she was 16 years old in 2000.
In the meantime, let's go back to New York City. Want to get some updates on the case that is unfolding there regarding Sean Diddy Combs.
Let's examine one of the most startling revelations in the current Shaw story. Diddy arrives, his mother Janice's mysterious absence raises the question of what would have caused a woman who has openly supported her son to abruptly disappear without a trace. Buckle up, because this is one crazy ride into the heart of a family crisis that is both captivating and perplexing. The shocking news that broke earlier this week was that Janice Combs, the matriarch of the Combs family, had left the country. The story is full of intrigue, whispers of scandal, and a web of secrets that could change everything. Yes, you read correctly. The woman who has supported Diddy through his turbulent career and recent legal troubles problems appear to have vanished. To be clear, this isn't just a case of someone taking a long vacation. It feels purposeful and calculated, almost as if she's fleeing something or someone. Let's go back a few weeks. Into thin air, her departure wasn't just abrupt, it was downright secretive, leaving even those closest to her searching for answers. Janice had been an outspoken advocate for her son, making statements that portrayed her as a distraught mother who trusted in her son's innocence. She referred to the accusations against Diddy as a public lynching and pleaded with the public to hear his side of the story before passing judgment. It appeared as though she was prepared to fight to the death for her son. So why would that is the big question, and the solutions may be hidden in her past until she abruptly flees.
That kind of environment growing up in is going to have an impact on a child growing up. Now, it doesn't make excuses for what people do in adulthood, and the form that can take really depends on a lot of different things, including things such as what are the family values? Are the family values about, being open and honest about things, or if there's trauma in a family, do families deal with it, or how is that child raised?
Let's begin with the rumors that have been circulating for years about her involvement in Diddy's alleged wrongdoings. According to childhood friends who have spoken out in recent documentaries, the wild parties she threw at their Mount Vernon family home when Diddy was still a boy were your typical neighborhood get-togethers. One of Diddy's longest friends, Tim Patterson, called the evenings chaotic and extremely unsettling, saying it was common to wander into rooms full of activities that no youngster should ever see. Patterson further proposed that early exposure to such an environment may have sowed the seeds for the actions Diddy is currently charged with.
According to the Rolling Stone, the doc features an alleged childhood friend of Puff's, hip-hop producer Tim Dog Patterson. He alleged that Janice, Diddy's mom, would often throw parties at Diddy's childhood home. He says that during the parties, it wasn't uncommon to walk into rooms where adults was having that was just their norm.
However, this is where things become even more hazy. How does Janice's portrayal as a fiercely protective mother who worked tirelessly to give her son a better life fit with the stories of those parties? Could it be that she was trying to provide for her son in the only way she knew how, even if it meant ignoring the chaos around her? Or was she more involved in that lifestyle than anyone ever knew? Janice sent her son to private school.
In the doc, per Rolling Stone, this type of childhood is alleged to be why Tim, the longtime friend of Diddy's, Puff believes that Puff found himself in the position he is in now.
And the date of her disappearance should not be overlooked. As the pressure mounted on Diddy's court fights, more accusers came forward, and damaging films started airing. Janice disappeared by coincidence. Her abrupt departure may be an attempt to avoid being drawn into the legal system, according to extremely unlikely insiders. After all, if those childhood parties were as crazy as people say, who's to say she wouldn't be called to testify? And what would she say if she were put under oath? But the speculation doesn't end there. Based on certain sources, Janice didn't just walk away without saying anything. It has been rumored that she took a substantial sum of money with her, money that Diddy would sorely need for his escalating legal bills. If this issue actions have left a huge hole in Diddy's support system at a time when he most needs it. It's true that it creates even more questions about her motivations. Was she running away out of fear, or was she severing ties and protecting her own future while she still had the chance?
I think another question that we just can't ignore is the role of power. Because one question is, how does somebody become the way they are? And then another question is, how are they allowed to stay the way that they are? And I think that also speaks to this kind of, lack of
The impact her absence has had on the Combs family is even more perplexing. Diddy's kids, who have already been in the spotlight because of their father's legal issues, are now having to cope with the additional trauma of their grandmother's desertion. Janice has always played a significant role in their lives and is frequently spotted at family get-togethers and red carpet events. Her abrupt absence has left them in shock, with one insider calling the family dynamic completely shattered. It's difficult to predict how this will impact their future perceptions of their father and grandmother.
He thought that he was above the law, so I can only, think that, he was sloppy in the way that he did these crimes, that there's probably a trail of evidence, not only involving him, but everybody in his circle that he would, delegate these responsibilities to. And those people are when they're...
And this is where the situation becomes much more intricate. Although Janice has not been charged with any crimes, the FBI is apparently closely monitoring her absence because of her potential relation to Diddy's case. Although her whereabouts are still unknown, some insiders think it will only be a matter of time until her name is placed on a wanted list, particularly if it comes out that she is concealing evidence that could be essential to the inquiry. According to some, she is in Europe. Although some people think she's in the Caribbean, she has managed to remain off the grid wherever she is, which is no easy achievement in the hyper-connected world of today. Let's now discuss the wider ramifications of her escape. First of all, it presents a troubling image of a woman who may not be as innocent as she has attempted to appear. Although she has publicly defended Diddy, her actions reveal a different story of self-preservation and possibly guilt. Could it be that she knows more than she is letting on? If so, what does that mean for Diddy's case? Her absence could make it more difficult for his legal team to argue that he is a victim of circumstance when one of his biggest defenders has seemingly abandoned him. As a single mother who raised a mogul against all odds, Janice has long represented tenacity in the Combs family, but her abrupt departure poses a threat to damage that reputation, casting a shadow over everything she's worked so hard to create. It's a stark reminder that even the most carefully crafted facades can break down under pressure. As the story progresses, one thing is certain: Janice's escape has added yet another layer of complexity to an already chaotic situation. Whether she's evading the law, the media, or her own conscience, her actions have left a trail of questions that may never be fully answered, and as Diddy gets ready for the battle of his life, he must now do so without the woman who has been his rock for more than 50 years. The ripple effects of her disappearance are just starting to be felt, and the consequences could be more extensive than did anyone ever think.
I feel like we're almost becoming numb to the lawsuit after the lawsuit after the lawsuit. And do all of the allegations against Combs so far that we've seen make the claims here, these new claims, do you think it makes it more or less...
To say that Diddy's legal issues are piling up would be an understatement. Let's now discuss them. In addition to being grave, the charges against him appear to be getting more damaging by the day. Ranging from claims of coercion to charges of planning complex, the list of events involving dubious players seems never-ending, and that only covers the criminal side of things. On the civil front, lawsuits are exploding, with lawyer Tony Busby allegedly representing 120 accusers. Yes, you heard correctly. Even though Diddy's legal team has been working for a long time to refute the allegations and portray him as the victim of false charges, the sheer volume of cases is unmanageable. The number 120 alone is enough to make your head spin. T.O. disregard.
And because the 8 people in the videos, the 8 celebrities in the videos were allegedly victims of crimes, we know who they are, but we will not be naming them, famous or not.
What role does Janice's abrupt departure play in all of this? Well, it's a logistical nightmare in addition to being a blow to Diddy's emotional support network. Remember that Janice was one of his most outspoken critics. She was the family's moral compass and the only person who could attest to Diddy's character and upbringing, and her public remarks characterizing the accusations as a public lynching were a cornerstone of his defense strategy. However, with her disappearance, it feels like even his closest allies are abandoning him, and while no one is saying it directly, the rumors are becoming louder. Could Janice's disappearance be a clue that she knows something the rest of us don't? Is there a piece of this puzzle that has not yet been disclosed.
Well, first of all, I can only imagine how sloppy Sean Combs was with evidence when he got busted with those 2 machine guns or 3 machine guns with the altered serial numbers. So I really don't trust Sean Combs or the people around him's ability to properly cover up anything. So I envision that you're going to see at trial payments from his Amex for flights for people, straight payments directly from his company to people.
Insiders claim that Diddy's financial situation is as grave and that he is experiencing a cash flow issue that may make it difficult for him to put up a strong defense. Even though Diddy's team maintains that settling certain lawsuits does not amount to an admission of guilt, the payouts have reportedly been staggering, chipping away at his fortune with each settlement, leaving less and less for his defense. Legal battles are not cheap, and the high profile of his case means he needs the best lawyers money can buy. But Janice allegedly stole a significant chunk of his remaining funds when she fled, stretching his financial resources thinner than ever.
He is very, very dominant. Like, he wants to control the situation. He wants to control his inner circle. He wants to make everyone have a good time and enjoy his parties. And so, you know, it is scary because you think, you know, this person or possibly his social network or the people he's around could make or break your career.
However, the financial burden extends beyond legal bills. Once a testament to his success, Diddy's empire is now displaying flaws in both his fashion and music labels. Everything about the Ventures and Spirits brand appears to be scrutinized. Sponsors are retreating. Public view is changing, partnerships are breaking up, and even some of his most devoted supporters are reportedly pulling away from the escalating controversy because they don't want to be linked to it. It's a domino effect, and one piece's demise might topple the entire structure.
Time frame is important because this happened in hotels, in places that have surveillance, that there's records that could be consistent with his testimony about when he alleges that these parties took place. He probably has his own information about who attended the events. When you're somebody like Sean Combs and you're such a celebrity and you're engaged in this type of behavior, people around you are memorializing it on the.
And the family dynamic, or what remains of it, comes next. Diddy's kids, who are already dealing with the media circus surrounding their father, now have to cope with the extra strain of their grandmother's absence. Let's not forget that Janice has always played a crucial role in their lives. She was the one who showed up for family vacations, school functions, and red carpet appearances. Janice's disappearance has left a hole that no one else seems to be able to fill. The family is in shock by her abrupt departure, which feels like an abandonment. An insider said that the Combs household was tense and split, with everyone on edge and unclear of what would happen next.
But it will be up to the jury. And there's really another piece of this case, and that's the racketeering case. And they don't really talk about that. Diddy's attorneys, Sean Combs' attorneys, they stay away from the racketeering part of this. They are focused solely on the trafficking part of this case.
However, the emotional toll extends beyond the family. Sources close to the music mogul claim that Diddy is experiencing feelings of betrayal and confusion. He has been wondering why his mother would leave at such a crucial moment, with some speculating that her actions have caused him to doubt everything he believed he knew about his own upbringing and the people he trusted the most. It's a devastating blow that couldn't have come at a worse time. The role of public opinion in all of this is even more intriguing or concerning, depending on your point of view. Diddy has always been an expert at manipulating his story, utilizing his charisma and influence to mold how the world observes him, but it appears that the story is escaping from his grasp this time. With hashtags like Diddy Downfall and Calm Chaos trending virtually every day, social media is ablaze with theories and conjecture. While some fans are supporting him and insisting that he is the target of a smear campaign, others are less forgiving, pointing to the growing body of evidence and questioning how much more must be revealed before people begin to believe the accusations.
Certainly, there's a lot of information that needs to be substantiated, investigated, and those kinds of things. But when we look at people who become offenders, we oftentimes see early exposure to whether that's or actual behavior, and we oftentimes see that within the family.
And let's not ignore the documentaries that have been making the rounds on streaming platforms like wildfire. From Peacock's Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy to Diddy's Fall, These exposes are presenting a picture of a man whose empire was founded on secrets and scandal. Each documentary seems to bring new revelations, new witnesses, and new reasons to doubt Diddy's legacy. Although his legal team has dismissed these films as sensationalized and one-sided, they cannot deny the impact they are having on public opinion because, in the court of public opinion, perception is reality, and the current reality appears grim.
So remember when I said Diddy mother might be the originator of the freak-offs? All right, so apparently tomorrow there's the Peacock is dropping the Diddy documentary. It's called Diddy, The Making of a Bad Boy, and the doc gets into Diddy's childhood and his experience growing up in connection to the lawsuit and assault allegations he's currently facing.
While Diddy has always been candid about his difficult upbringing and the difficulties he faced, these new revelations cast his past in a much darker light. It's one thing to overcome adversity, but it's another to continue the same behaviors that once caused you pain. One of the most annoying things about these documentaries is the way they tie Diddy's past to his current childhood friends, like Tim Patterson, who have come forward with stories that suggest the seeds of his current problems were planted long ago. Patterson's accounts of the wild gatherings at Janice's house, where everything seemed to go, have added fuel to the fire.
If you say the wrong thing or you complain or I don't know, there's an element where you're just, I guess manipulated in a way to make you feel like, oh, you have to please everyone around you. You can't say anything wrong. You don't want to say a bad thing, or when they're constantly asking you, would you like to do drugs? And you're like, well, I don't do drugs. And they're like, well, why don't you do drugs?
The testimonies from former co-workers, partners, and industry insiders are even more disturbing because they come from people who were formerly a part of Diddy's inner circle and are not just random strangers. Their accounts, whether from former partners remembering uncomfortable experiences or workers detailing a poisonous workplace, portray a picture of a man who frequently used his position of authority and influence to obtain what he wanted at the expense of others. There is consistency in the narrative. Diddy was a man who enjoyed dominance, and when that dominance was questioned, things became unpleasant. Let's not overlook Janice's role in all of this. Although she has been portrayed as a loving but imperfect mother, her disappearance begs the question of how much she actually knew about the accusations against her son before they were made public. Did she directly or indirectly enable some of his behavior? And if so, did her departure signify a sense of guilt or simply a desire to protect herself? These are questions that may never be answered, but they add another level of complexity to an already complicated story, and as Diddy's trial date draws nearer, the stakes couldn't be higher for him. This isn't just about clearing his name. It's about preserving what's left of his legacy, nevertheless. It's getting harder to see a way forward with every new disclosure, lawsuit, and now the added drama of his mother going missing. His empire, which was once a symbol of triumph and resiliency, now feels more like a house of cards on the verge of collapsing. But despite everything, there's still a sense of uncertainty. Will Diddy be able to turn things around? Or is this really the beginning of the end for one of hip-hop's most iconic figures? Perhaps most significantly, as the US continues to settle, or rather, as the storm continues to rage, will Janice reappear and provide insight into her actions? Or will her disappearance remain one of the major unanswered issues of this saga? It's obvious that this story is far from over. In fact, it feels like we're only just getting started. Keep an eye on it because if we've learned anything about the Combs family, it's that their lives are unpredictable, and as this drama develops, one can't help but wonder what will happen next. Please leave your thoughts in the comment section below, and remember to like and subscribe for more fascinating articles and celebrity rumors. Until then, stay curious.